Right, is it recording? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Minifridgeinthia here. Right, okay. An unscheduled mini-mug. I wasn't planning on bringing this series back just yet, and I know you can see multiple of me right now, but I need to do this, okay? It is 9 o'clock in the morning, and I have just woken up. And I've been hearing about this shit with AtGames before anyway, and I didn't really look into it. I thought, you know what, I don't pay much attention to AtGames, as there's no need to go into it, but... Okay, for those of you who don't know who AtGames are, they've been running this company for ages. They basically make emulation consoles. Like, Atari Flashback is their most well-known one. They've also done, like, Mega Drive clones. The particular one that I remember is this, it was called the AtGames Mega Drive. It had 20 emulated games in it, but also had the ability to play cartridges, PAL and NTSC. It was actually the first way that I was able to play Mega Drive games, and even some Genesis games. The problem with that is not only was the emulation bad, but so was the cartridge base bad. Just take, for example, Sonic 2, Sonic 1, you had terrible music. Like, they could not do the music well. I've even got a cup of tea for this. But then certain games just didn't work. I remember me and my friend, and if he's watching this, you know who we are. We tried several cartridges on this thing, and every one of them had something wrong with it. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 seemed alright until we got to Chemical Plant Zone, where if you weren't in the water, the screen would flash purple. So we ended up calling it Seizure the Hedgehog. His friend and him tried to put Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition in there, and it said it was illegal. So, like, the emulation of just running cartridges didn't work. On original cartridges, it just didn't work. So here's what's going on with AtGames at the moment. They currently released the Blast line of kind of home console things. It's basically what looks like a Mega Drive controller, 6-button, and it runs older games through emulation, through HDMI. Sounds like a good idea. I think from what I can see, each one like has its own game. Like, one has Pac-Man, one has Centipede, one has Pitfall. I'm not too sure about that. It might be, yeah, like a unique way to play specially curated systems with save, rewind, and other modern features. No fuss, no filler. Just plug the HDMI into your TV, grab the controller, and have a blast. Sounds like a decent idea. Well, here's what happened. They sent some review units out. Yeah, here's the picture I was talking about. From what I can see, they have certain built-in games, but they have like one big game to base it off. They even have like a paddle controller, which seems cool. But here's where the problems lie. They sent some review units out, and this one reviewer, I cannot remember his name. Like I said, I've not long woken up. Received a unit, and he gave it a stellar review. He said this is above AtGames quality. They actually run the arcade, they run it through arcade emulation rather than NES ROM files, which is what they usually do. He gave the products a stellar review, and so one smaller reviewer found them and decided to buy them for himself, but then found out that the final versions of them have the NES ROMs on it, not the arcade versions. And this is where the confusions lie, because after that review went out, they've been trying their very hardest to do what I think is kind of Wendy-styled comebacks, or just fighting with people. It is not working. Yeah, like here, the real Review Tech USA, which is the channel I originally heard this from. So Atari Flashback is literally scamming people with their Bandai Namco US Flashback series. This is a new low even for them. And AtGames just responded, "We appreciate that this could have been better communicated. However, the initial product run was always going to be the home versions, then change to the arcade versions once the production changes are made. But they didn't say that. In the original review, from what I can tell, they never told him that the review unit he had the arcade version, and then the retail version was going to contain the NES ROMs until a later date. But how are people supposed to know that? From what I can tell as well, people also are claiming that the things on the back of the box show the arcade versions. This is nothing new. You see it all the time, and usually it's for demonstration purposes only. It's to make it look good on the back of the box. You see this all the time with trailers. Usually, you know, even if a game is coming out for like PS4, Xbox One, or Switch, they'll have like the PC version running to make it look the best for trailers. That's nothing new, but usually they have it on the bottom of the box or at the bottom of the trailer, PC version shown, not real in-game footage or something like that. And I think they might do that, but this is some really bad crowd control. Let's run through this post. Costunes at Flashback Gaming. I think I'm going to go for the non-Walmart versions of the Bandai Namco Flashback, because even though the Walmart version shows the arcade versions on the box, the games inside are actually the NES versions, and I think this is very dishonest, so change it ASAP. All initial versions will feature the home versions of the games. As soon as the versions with the arcade originals are available, we'll let you know. And then somebody else responded, so why are you sending out different review units to YouTubers? Don't you see a problem with sending out different products than what's on the shelves? And they responded with, back when the review units were sent out, the hardware in the arcade versions was on track to ship on time. There was a recent delay. They're still coming. Any issues with the owners of the home versions can contact us directly for a resolution. But say that on the box. Say what versions are on the box. Like, people are going to want to know. If I went out and bought this thing, I would want to know if it was the NES hardware or the arcade version. It's that simple. If you say that these are like anybody can just say it's Pac-Man, but when you've got two different versions of the units, at least be transparent to reviewers. Because if you send out review units, usually these kind of companies send out like a massive list of things. Like, this is just a prototype version. This is what's going to change. But I haven't heard anybody say anything about that, and it doesn't make sense. Eventually, the arcade versions will be released and replace the home game versions. We'll let you know when that happens. But what about those people on the bottom line of this? What about these people who maybe don't have a Twitter account? They may not have a Twitter account, by the way. Follow me at Minifridge. A small little plug there for me. Follow my social medias if you're interested. But this is just beyond. Like, if I didn't follow AtGames, I had no reason to follow AtGames. I think that most of their products, especially now, back when I had that AtGames Mega Drive, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I have 20 games straight there on the on the system itself, and if I have any cartridges, I can play it. But since I've grown up, and since I've, started majorly collecting and been able to play these games on their actual hardware, I can see that most of what AtGames are doing is absolute garbage, so I wouldn't have a reason to follow them. If I had seen these and thought, a bottom line person doesn't have Twitter, doesn't know about this whole situation, thinks they're getting the arcade version, and saw a YouTube video that said, yes, it's the arcade version, and then got the NES ROMs, that's going to be a big problem. And they're trying to perform this damage control by just saying, oh, the review units were different, the later versions will be replaced. But will you mention that on the box? What's going to be the main difference between the NES ROMs and the arcade versions? What is going to be different on the box that says that? Or are you just are retailers just going to put both versions on the shelf, and it's a fucking roll of the dice whether or not you get the actual version that you wanted to pay for? That doesn't make... That's wrong on a bottom line, because I bet you, just the way they didn't mention on emails like, this is just a prototype, here's what's going to change. I bet you to retailers, they're not going to go and say, oh, these are the old units, can you chuck away the old units and put the new units out? No, most people want to get rid of the stock that they bought. All stores do that. Even if a brand new version of a game comes out, say there's a definitive edition, most game stores will still sell the original version because of the fact that they're going to want to get rid of the stock that they bought. So, once again, it'll just be a roll of the dice whether or not you get the version that you want. And they've even started fucking blocking people as well. This is, yeah, here we go. This is the one. Some person said, grow up and stop blocking people that criticize you. No thanks. We'll continue to block people who cross a line into harassment. I don't think it's harassment at this point. I think it's people actually just pissed off with the fact that what they wanted was what was reviewed originally. You know, the one that gave it that amazing praise. The one that said, this is a new line for AtGames. This is going above and beyond of what they usually do. They want that product, not the one that you're putting on retail shelves. Also, if there was a problem with the arcade versions going onto the hardware, one, why did you send a unit out anyway? And two, why didn't you just mention, this is going to be delayed until we get the arcade versions out? That would make a lot more sense to me. It's like fucking, I remember when they said that they were going to be the ones who, like, what the fuck is this a response, right? This is the official AtGames Twitter. And they put the response, like, some person, yeah, they're a bit childish. You guys are doo-doo. But what actual Twitter, like, official Twitter for an actual real company that's supposed to give you some professionalism responds with na boo boo. That, I mean, yeah, like, you can't just do these flashback, like, these fucking slapbacks thinking that you're fucking Wendy's, dude. Yeah, AtGames blocking people for criticizing and fairly saying that your products are shit. You butthurt, you mad. What you do? Defeat Blockman off Mega Man 11 and use his block powers to get everyone. Oh well, analog is more expensive, but they can take criticism. And they say, sorry Joe, that's clearly not the case. We only block those who cross the line into actual harassment. We'll continue to have dialogues with those who wish to have actual conversation. More like, you're willing to have conversation who are saying, like, these products are awesome, that don't have a problem with this shit. And the thing is, this is all through, if you go onto their actual account, they start giving up after a while as well. Why do you make two consoles that are identical and make one noticeably worse? What type of business is that? There are ways, the way better flashback consoles that don't make other consoles noticeably worse than others. This is an outright scam, ridiculous. And they just go, this is only one version of the product available, thanks. You mean the Walmart exclusive or the other one? They're all home versions of the games, thanks. Like, they just stopped, they just gave up afterwards. They started changing their story after a while. After, like, all of this started getting, like, really bad, they started saying, like, the Bandai Namco Blast features the home versions of the games. Walmart has Pac-Mania instead of Tower of Druaga. That's the only difference in products. If the products change, there will be a future announcement. If, at this point, they were starting to send out things trying to say, like, there is only one thing, like, if there's a change. Did companies take note of this and start to, like, get rid of their licenses? This is beyond a joke to me. Like, they started responding with GIFs for this shit. This is beyond a joke. Bottom line, okay, I've just ranted and pretty much saying the same thing over again. Like I said, I have not long woken up, but this is the bottom line. don't buy this product until you know exactly what's inside. To be honest, I wouldn't even recommend buying off AtGames. They've never shown that they can do a decent emulation console since I've known them. Hey, Ivy, go to mummy. It's just my daughter. Right, anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Bottom line, don't buy this product. Try and, don't bother with AtGames. Don't even give them this kind of response because it's obvious they're not going to listen. Now they're just either blocking people who say your products are not good, or they're just outright giving you a stupid response, which is not helping the situation. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Oh, hey, what's wrong? I'm just doing a little video, darling. Go to mummy. Either way, guys, I'm going to stop this video here. Thank you so much for watching. May your fridges be ever full, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.